We want to be their friends, and we want to be the friend of the impulse to liberty all over the world. We're going to compete. And he said this in various speeches. We're going to compete, and we're going to compete hard, but we're going to compete fair. And Chomsky would say, well, he's a Cold Warrior. And it's true. He was a Cold Warrior. But his way of fighting the Cold War was to, let's be better than the Soviets. Let's show a better way. Let's show the best of us. So I'm afraid a lot of the left has written off Kennedy as an unimportant person. But when you see this, and this is just a narrow slice of what he did the same thing in Indochina. He gave
or not unimportant. I wouldn't say unimportant, but not a departure from regular presidential foreign policy.
Gotcha.
Right.
But in fact,
because they would say he's important, they just basically don't want to get. They would say he doesn't deserve credit for ABC. I mean,
I've heard Chomsky say, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. He's not particularly interested in who killed Kennedy or why, because he's just one of the bunch. But it's not quite accurate. Again, we've just seen this demonstration of Kennedy putting his money where his mouth is, and again, no personal gain for him. There's no Algerian lobbying group that would funnel money into his campaign. He did this to do the right thing. All right. And a year later, he was dead. Okay. So during the summer of 1963, he and his brother, who's the attorney general, were fighting Israel on two fronts. One, Kennedy personally, JFK personally, he wrote the letters, or they were signed with his name. He wrote the letters, the telegrams, the cables, and we have all the correspondence, which was classified until just a few years ago, which is really weird. He was telling the Israelis, you cannot have a nuclear weapon, period. End of story. We need to see your labs. We need to see what you're doing. Now, on the brother side, Robert Kennedy, who was Attorney General, was telling the Israeli lobbyist groups, you got to register just like everybody else. England registers, Canada registers, Australia registers. You've got to register too. And of course, they were using the endless delay tactics. So there was a secret war, and I call it secret. I call it a battle. It was secret because nobody knew about it at the time, and nobody knew about it as recently as the dawn of the 21st century. All right, so it was secret. I'm calling it a battle because it wasn't an all-out war, but it was a battle. It was serious, and each side had a position, and each side was digging in deep. And who was he fighting against? He was fighting against, in my opinion, extremist elements in Israel. Which, by the way, I don't know how many people know this. Did you know that Hannah Arendt, and am I pronouncing that right? Sometimes I read things that I don't know how to pronounce. The great sociologist
Arendt,
who spoke against fascism. She and Einstein wrote a letter to the New York Times in the 1940s saying, hey, these Zionist extremists are terrible. You shouldn't. We shouldn't.
They even said fascists. Yeah.
Yeah. We should not invite them into our country to speak.
Right.
Now that's something I would bang that drum every day of the week.
Yeah.